Hey guys, welcome to the Week 15 report. This report's going to be posted a little late, but nonetheless, thank you for joining. This week we'll get into some news, scores, of course, the standings, and instead of the special video for the week, I'm going to be discussing how the keeper draft will work and how it will work every 3 years. That will be later in the video, right before the final notes. If you do want to check out something that's pretty funny or interesting, the NBA just unveiled their new LED courts for the All-Star game, which I've been seeing multiple comments and stuff saying like how people are going to get hella injured and a lot of speculation, but it looks kind of cool. But we'll see how it actually works and if it's like how the broadcast will work with it. But all right, on to the news. All right, for the news, we're going to just get right into it. Injuries. There's some big updates and big injuries this week. Zach LaVine is going to have foot surgery. They're going to expect him to be out for the season and be back 4 to 6 months. This is his second year on his contract, so he still has 3 more with the Bulls, but Bulls could have traded him a lot earlier. And you just hate to see it because who knows what the Bulls are going to look like even before the season ends. The next huge news, Embiid has a torn meniscus. He's expected to go through with the procedure, which is going to take him out for an extended period of time. They haven't have a definitive set yet because he hasn't gotten it. Sixers are hoping 1 to 2 months, but who knows? The very worst is that he's out for the season, but most are speculating by playoffs. Now, Julius Randle. We had an update on his shoulder. He's going to be reevaluated on it in 2 to 3 weeks. You hate to see it, especially with the surging Knicks, but he will be back in time to play some regular season games before the playoffs. Now, Zach LaVine is on Team Lobster, so that doesn't really change things for Team Lobster. They're still tanking. Embiid was on Team Army Jr., which is going to affect the playoff picture a lot. I could very well see Team Army Jr. falling throughout the standings and in a worst case, exiting the playoffs before they even start. But we'll have to see. He has a 3-game lead, it looks like, against 9th place, so it would have to be a hella big fall. And then finally, the Fraggle Rock 9 had Julius Randle. Hasn't really affected they're winning. They're still undefeated, as we'll see later, but definitely affected their points. They're scoring less recently compared to the beginning of the season. Now on to a trade that happened in the NBA. Doesn't really affect anybody this season, but Steven Adams on the Grizzlies was traded to the Rockets for Victor Oladipo and 3 second-rounders. The first one being a 2024 second-rounder from Houston, then a 2024 second rounder from OKC. That is a swap between the Nets and the Warriors, whichever one's more favorable. And then a 2025 second rounder, whichever one's more favorable between the Rockets and the Grizzlies. So a pretty good trade for Steven Adams, especially since he's injured right now. I think this is going to be great for both sides. Alperen Sengun will learn a lot from Steven Adams and we'll have a much more freedom with a big guy like him holding down the paint. Sengun's been popping off this season, so it's great for him to see, a look into next season, how it could look. As for the fantasy league, the only person really affected is the Void. They had Steven Adams on IR. It's hard to tell what next season is going to be looking like because we're not even done this season, but I'd expect Steven Adams' minutes to stay the same. It's always a bit concerning, players coming off season-ending injuries like this, so we'll have to wait and see. On to the scores of the week. All right, before we get into the scores, I forgot to say while we were talking about the injuries that happened, a lot of people are in uproar about 65 games, being the limit. Like, you have to have 65 to be in contention for all the major awards in the NBA. I also think that's so dumb. I think there's a better way to do it, and it sucks. This season, Embiid's not going to be able to be, nominated for MVP, even though he very well should be, or even any of the all NBA teams. It's just so dumb. I think the better way to do it is to do it by minutes, so that if a player does miss out, at least they can try and catch up in the games that they are playing. So like, you can do a baseline of 20 minutes every game for the whole season. You do 20 times 82, and it gives you around 1,700. So that, they still have to play, they still have to play solid minutes. But then, if they do miss games, if you do like 30 minutes and 60 games, you still have enough minutes to be nominated. Or if you do, you can play around with it. The time, that's just what I was thinking. You could play around with it, and then it doesn't have to be such a game wise, But the only thing I will say on the other side, I like Anthony Edwards, MJ and Kobe. Like, there are people paying like good money to see these players play, and this might be the only game they see ever, and to play for those fans is something special. And that's why I like people like Anthony Edwards who try and play every day, even if they're a little bit hurt, But in this case, you're pushing a player to try and get MVP, even though they're actually kind of hurt, like that could lead to a torn meniscus. So that was my 2 cents. I almost forgot to put it in the video, but now let's go on to the scores. All right, before we get into the scores, we have a major rebranding for one of our teams. Uncle's O'Grimacy's Cream is rebranding to the Mog Squad. In a press release, they stated, after recent allegations regarding the behavior of Uncle O'Grimacy to fans and workers of Uncle O'Grimacy's Cream, the team has decided to part ways with Uncle O'Grimacy. We're excited to announce our rebranding to target a more modern audience. We are the Mog Squad, which there has been a lot of cheer. A lot of people loving the rebranding. I will say there is a lot of comments on the post, even a lot of tweets on Twitter saying how they betrayed Uncle O'Grimacy, how they loved the old brand, and how it supported their work environment. But this is in spite of all the atrocious crimes Uncle O'Grimacy has committed. Child labor to name one of them. I think it's going to be great for the league to see this rebranding, and it's a second one to follow after Lee Canto Embers did not too long ago. Now on to the scores. We're going to start out with the Mog Squad facing Team Belushio. The Mog Squad, handled it pretty well. Team Belushio is still a little bit injured. Evan Mobley and Darius Garland are coming back from injury. They won, though, 223 to 182 with 3 top picks. That was enough, even with 3 worst picks. Team Belushio is looking better, though, in recent weeks, especially with these injuries. These players coming back from injuries, they're going to be dangerous these last couple of games. The Mock Squad goes to 9-6. Team Belushio goes to 6-9. Now, for the next game, we have another semi-rebranding. Aiden's team, Steve-O now, is temporarily that name until he finds a more a better rebranding that really fits his squad. It might be in the coming weeks, or it might be next season, but it's definitely something to follow in a string of rebrandings we've seen in this league. This would mark the 3rd one. Now, Steve-O won this week in a close match, 220.5 to 207.69 against the Codfather. The Codfather, they tried. You'd hope, this is one of those weeks where it's like one pick could go either way. 2 picks could go either way. And a very similar top picks and top worst picks. Steve-O had 3 and 3. Codfather 2 and 2. It was really close, legitimately one player away. But Steve-O goes to 8 and 7, and the Codfather goes to 4 and 11. Playoff hopes are looking non-existent. Now on to the next matchup. We had one of the matchups of the week. The Void played Team Web Warrior, and the Void won 203.25 to 190.75. And some are saying the only reason the Team Void, won this week is because Team Web Warrior left in an injured Kyrie Irving. His last game was on Saturday, which locked in 0 points for him. You would think if he played literally anybody, they would have won. They would have won, maybe even by a good margin. With one top pick and two worst picks for the Void, that should not have gotten it done, considering Team Web Warrior had the most top picks at 4. But it looks like the trade worked out for the Void in the meantime, I did see Jonathan Kuminga only have like 13 points this week, so not paying dividends for Team Web Warrior, who falls to 4-11, also looking at non-existent playoff hopes. The Void then go up to 8-7, keeping up toe-to-toe with Steve-O. On to the next matchup, the Battle of the Noahs. When I first saw this, my jaw was dropped. I've never seen a team score this low. At 92.75, that is the lowest I've ever seen a team score in the league. At one point, they were projected less than 60 points. I know they're tanking, but this is, oh my god, this is awful. Now falling to 3-12, they are the worst in the league. They still are the worst in the league. Where Sherm is now 10-5, entering the top teams in the league, dropping 223.44 is pretty good with 3 top picks. Some are comparing his team to the NBA team, the Knicks. I don't see it. The Knicks, they're not that cool. But for the Knicks, I can see the comparable of them both surging. But other than that, nothing to tout about. Both have aspirations to have LeBron, who's in the background out here, on their team. On to the next game. It was the Fraggle Rock 9 versus Team Army Jr. Fraggle Rock 9 dropped 230.69, which is, again, dropping below what they're expected to put up. With one top pick and one worst pick, is not the worst managerial week, but it's enough to get it done to now be 15-0. Team Army Jr. now falls to 9-6, and very well could be falling even more in the coming weeks. Dropping 178.25 is not going to get it done on most teams, and with Embiid being injured, it might be the standard now of dropping near that. They had one top pick, 0 worst picks. A top pick might be because they picked at the end of the week. Team Army Jr. has a track record of not picking their games, so also doesn't help to see if maybe with this happening that Embiid might just stay in the lineup is concerning, because he'll just continue to drop 0 for the next couple of months. But on to the next game, we have Pack Nicely versus I Could Go For A Beer. Pack Nicely falls to 4-11, while I Could Go For Your Beer goes up to 9-6. They're winning by a handily margin of 70 points. Both teams had one top pick, 2 worst picks. Not the best manager of the week, but 2 teams of very different eras. Pack Nicely trying to rebuild, and I Could Go For A Beer, playoff contenders. But another win is another win, and you'd like to see it. Pack Nicely still is towards the bottom of the league, and I Could Go For Your Beer is trying to get towards the top. Now for our final matchup, we have Lecanto Embers versus Team Zomped. Lecanto Embers putting up a solid week, 211 points, a really good efficiency, with 2 top picks, 3 worst picks. I don't want to say it could have been better, but it could have. But 211 could have won you the week. It's just too bad, especially against a team that doesn't really pick their games. Team Zom now goes up to 12-3, putting up 280, which is starting to seem like the average for them. They're starting to pick up pace, and I'd be scared for any other team in the playoffs right now. And that'll wrap it up for the scores. Now I'll send us into the standings. All right, now on to the standings. Let's look at the playoff picture. The Fraggle Rock 9 continuing their undefeated streak. They're 15-0, trying to hold on to first place. With only 5 games left in the season, it's looking more and more likely. If they win 2 more, it is confirmed, pretty much. Maybe even 3 more. Team Zombs is trying to catch up. They locked in their playoff spot. Right now at the 2 seed, 12 and 3, they're looking more like a 1 seed than the Fraggle Rock 9 right now. Now we get into some moving in the standings. At the 3 seed, we got the Straight Pajamas. 10 and 5, they go up a seed. Now they're at the 3rd seed. Only 10 and 5 team. They're trying to break out from the pack. At the 4, we see the Mog Squad at 9 and 6, going up a spot. They're looking pretty good. Trying to just get better position in the playoff bracket. Now Team Army Junior is looking to slide. They already slid 2 positions. They could slide 4 more. We'll have to wait and see. But with Embiid out, that's what it's looking like. As we continue at the 6th seed, also at 9 and 6, we have I Could Go for a Beer. Between the 4th and the 6th seed, it's mostly just the points for being the differential. The Mog Squad having 200 more than Team Army Junior, and I Could Go for a Beer. At the 7 and 8 seed, the Void and Steve-O are at 8 and 7, both trying to stay toe and toe with only 4 points separating them in the points for category. So that could go either way. It's going to be pretty interesting. With 5 games left, a lot could change. A lot. Now on to the bottom 6. We'll see here that Team Belushi is now 6 and 9. Nice. Still on an 8-game losing streak. It's a pretty big slide. It might be time for a rebranding just to gloss over this awful streak, but you never know. You never know what'll happen. As we see with the bottom half of the league, the points for categories is a lot lower than the top half, so it's going to be hard for these guys to try and make their way up. Now, from 10th to 13th seed, all these teams are 4 and 11, with packed nicely on a 3-game losing streak. You just hate to see that, but a lot of these teams have a good core to them. They just need to get some extra pieces, maybe in this upcoming draft, or in some trades. The trade deadline again is week 18, at the end of week 18. Now, in the last seed, we have Team Lobster at 3 and 12. You just a 9-game losing streak too. You just hate to see it. As I was saying with Team Belushi, maybe a rebranding is going on here. But we'll get to dive deep into that because I'd like to make a little announcement that we're going to have Team Lobster's owner, Noah, on an interview here. Either next week's report or the week after's report. Next week's the Super Bowl, so it might be a busy weekend, but he's going to be in an interview upcoming. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or if you're an owner, just text me directly. We're going to ask some hard-hitting questions, and one question that I'm scared he doesn't know, but he's going to have to pay $5 to the first place if he finishes out in last place. But those are the bottom 6. I'm definitely excited for that interview. Now on to the free agents and best players of the week. All right, now on to our best players of the week. We have a regular here, Jokic, against for I Could Go for a Beer. He played against the Milwaukee Bucks, dropping 25 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. With 57 points, that was huge for Luke this week. Got him a solid dub against Pack nicely. But a common trend I see with these best players is that their plus minus is not good. It's usually -1, -2, or in this case -5 for Jokic. But I'd like to see a best player that has a good plus minus. I guess if you're the best player, you become more of a me guy, so you're chucking or trying to make better plays that don't work out. But I'd like to see a better plus minus from some of these players. Now for Steph Curry on the Lecanto Embers, he played against the Atlanta Hawks, dropping 60 points, absolutely insane. A lot of them coming from the 3-ball. He chucked a lot of 3 balls, which I think explains his plus minus. It's kind of funny if I was an older, guy, older fan of the league, I'd be like, oh, what the hell is this 60 point? Because he missed like almost 23 pointers, but he made 10 of them. So that's half of his points right there. He dropped 60 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and a block. With -1, you know, I guess it's me guy energy, but I don't know. He had a quarter more point than Jokic, coming in the best player of the week at 57.25 points. You love to see it. I love when Steph Curry pops off. It's a special kind of pop off, in my opinion. I love, you know, when he starts hitting 3 after 3. It's sick as fuck. Not in this case. It kind of sounded like he chucked, but I didn't personally watch the game. But on to our free agents. We'll move on to here. We have 3 guys right here, starting with Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been steadily great for the Mavs fantasy wise. I mean, he's getting the minutes, playing consistently. He's in the top fantasy point producers in the league. I think he's roughly at 30 or something like that. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Then we have Precious Achiuwa on the Knicks, who's, you know, filling in for Mitchell Robinson, who I think should be coming back soon. Actually, I don't know the ETA on that, but he's been playing good minutes, getting those fantasy points. And then finally, we have Bruce Brown. He's been solid. He's been their like defensive guy on the Pacers, which now I believe he's on the Raptors actually, which you know, is good for him. He's going to get more playing time, especially on, you know, not as good as a team as that, but we'll have to see in because I think he's on an expiring contract. Let's see where he goes next year. And that will take us to our segment on the keeper draft. All right, now we're going to be talking about the keeper draft. There still is plenty of time. I think I have to go over this now because, especially trade wise, people want to use their 2025 picks potentially. But I'll go more in depth on in a rules video I will do over the summer. But at the moment, let's go over what the keeper draft is going to look like. So this league started in 2022, and from there, every 3 years, we're going to have a keeper draft. So 2025, 2028, so on, however long. Hopefully, this league will span quite a while, but every 3 years, you know, to spice up things. Now, this keeper draft, so in the lull years, the 2 years before, 2 years after, and so on, you'll only have access to the top 3 picks. Now, those top 3 picks are very valuable. I'd find it hard to try and trade those away because, you know, those are your top picks in the keeper draft. But I could see people like trading a 2 and 3 or a second round, third round, or something like that for like a James Harden or you know, a point scorer to try and, you know, boost their team that much more. You know, sell your future to win now, basically. But the deal is, so for the keeper draft, the keeping of it, you're going to keep 6 players, which will make it an 8-round draft. Now, the 6 players you'll keep, 5 of them can be any players, anyone you want. Now, the 6th player has to be a player 20 or younger. If you don't have a player 20 or younger in the squad, they have to be the youngest player in your squad. Now, this 6th player is meant to really try and be the draft before's player, because, you know, they're not going to be the greatest. You know, being their rookie, some of them need to, you know, be on the taxi squad. So that will be that's position for that player. Now, if you don't have a good draft position in that draft before, you can use that pick on somebody else, but it has to be on a player 20 or younger or your youngest player on the squad. Now on to the draft. It will be an 8-round draft, like I said before, and it will not be snake. It will just be, you know, one to whatever, using the you know, the final standings of the year before. So once 2024 is done, we'll have the layout of what the picks will look like for the 2025 keeper draft. Now, to get your 5 other picks, because currently, for the most part, you're going to only have your 3. draft wise in general, I'm not able to update the settings for it or pick a date for it until the season at hand is done. So once the 2024 season is done, then I'll be able to make the keeper draft, select a date, and select the rounds. And once I do that, you'll have access to all 8 of your picks, and then you'll have access to picking which players you want to keep. Now, my one worry is, and what I'll continue to remind people, is to keep track of your picks if you do trade and stuff, because I am a little cautious if I change it to keeper draft that it'll fuck up the picks, but just keep track of your picks. I'll also try and keep track, but just in case I mess up, you'll have a backup, right? But so you'll always have access to your 1 through 3, your 4 through 8 picks. You'll have access to the summer before the draft, and I wish I could just give you all 8. And maybe once I do set it up this way for the first time, that it'll be set for the rest of the time. It will be like that, but for the most part, you'll be having your first 3, and then your 4 through 8 will come the summer before the draft. Now, saying that, what we can do before, and in the meantime now, before we can do that, is we can have verbal trades. You come to me, or you make a trade. You just accept a trade, and verbally you both agree that one player is going to give, or both players are going to give, a 2025 pick. You'll tell me that, and then I'll write that down. I'll keep it safe, and then once those picks are available, I'll switch it up. So you can trade those later round picks now. Just make sure you talk to me about it before you forget, or before you even accept the trade. Go like, hey Kyle, I'm about to accept this trade, but in this trade, blah 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 is giving me a 6th round 2025, and blah 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 is giving me a 8th round 2025. There's stuff like that, and I'll keep track, and I'm able to switch it up. But in the meantime, you're not going to be able to see those picks, but verbally, I'll make sure to give you those picks if you do want to trade them. So you are, not to get it twisted, you are able to trade those picks. It's not going to be in the system yet until the summer before. Now, you can, if you do get one of those picks verbally, you can trade it. I would just rather not, but I'll keep track of it. Whatever you want to do with those picks, you can. Just try and make it as clear as possible what you're doing, especially with those picks. And just a tip, those picks are incredibly valuable. Maybe not, the 7th or 8th round of that year, but they are incredibly valuable. Like that first through 3, you could be getting first pick, first round, you could be getting a player like, I don't know, like on my team, like a Jared Allen. I'm not sure if I'm going to save him or not. I don't want to give that clue out there, but a player of that caliber. And then the second round, you could get a player like Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't been playing that well this season, but, he's still a young player. And then third round, you could get a player like an aging Klay Thompson. It's just stuff like that. So like those, you can make a championship squad in these keeper drafts. But yeah, that is the keeper draft. I'll have a more clear and stated video and a rules and how to play video. That's going to come out this summer. I'll make this way more clear. I'll have graphics and everything, but I just want to make this clear so that people could start trading those picks now. But with that being said, if you have any questions, you can text me directly anytime, or you can put it in the comments and so on. I like this style. I think it freshens things up. It's not truly a dynasty league. It makes it like a hybrid keeper dynasty league that, keeps you on your toes. But with that being said, let's head into the final notes. All right, guys. So sorry about this being such a late post. Welcome to the final notes. Just want to say thank you for watching this video again. I like to see some of these rebrandings. I think the Mog Squad's great. Even a placeholder name like Steve-O, great. definitely better than saying their previous team name, which I couldn't really say on YouTube. But I really love these rebrandings, and I just want to say that over the summer, might have a rebranding draft for teams that aren't rebranded from their default names. I might come up with some team names, logos for them to draft from, or if it's not really a draft, they can just pick from. But it'd be nice to see all these teams having a logo and a rebrandment. I don't think that's a word, but whatever. On that note, I also want to say hopefully that keeper little segment was clear. You can trade anything, just let me know. I'm excited to see how this hybrid works. It definitely keeps teams from always dominating like we're seeing Riley right now, because he's just a god. But it gives players a chance. I'm gonna try and keep staying on top of the trades, what picks people have, but just make sure you know what you have first and foremost. And the last thing, when trading, my tip is always keep in mind who you're trying to keep. With this type of league, it seems like you always want to keep track of the players you're trying to have long term. And that's kind of dynasty, and that's kind of obvious, but especially with the keeper draft, like you only get to bring 6, but really 5 players, because your 6 players is going to be from the draft before, or a young kid. But I guess I should also make sure when I say 20 or under, I realize just now that some people you draft aren't 20 or younger, but if they're a rookie in the season before, you can put them in there. I think that's the other thing. They have to be a rookie before, 20 or younger, rookie before, or if you don't have either, it has to be your youngest player in the team. Just to fill out if people are trying to get any loopholes. I mean, if people wanted, they could have an hella old squad, but I don't know. But thank you guys again. Sorry for the late posts. I'll hopefully see you next week. With Super Bowl being next weekend, I'll try and record my video. It might be on the go, or it might be a day late, but we'll wait and see. But in any news, thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you later. Peace. Here we go. Francisco Lindor, he's stuck on the Mets. Ooh, Spencer Torkelson, he's due for a big year. Let's go, Buster Posey. I love that guy. He's a legend. Rookie card, Matt Mervis. We got him a rainbow foil. Sick. Yo!
What'd you get?
Yo! I gotta turn on the lights.
Turn on the lights.
Dude, no way! I got an on-card autograph of Eddie Murray.
Whoa.
Dude!
You gotta sleep that, bro.
I do. 2 minutes later.
Kyle doesn't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. I'm just looking at this car. Dude, this is insane. Eddie fucking Murray. This guy, he's a Baltimore Oriole legend. Certified autograph. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking hyperventilate. This is fucking insane.